Welcome back, everyone. We have not seen one another, and it's a pleasure to see you guys and to be back in your company. Um, I know you've been busy, particularly on the real estate front, and so we want to, as always, thank you for all of your efforts. Um, I believe we have a quorum. Is that correct?
Yes, Commissioner Jackson, you do have a quorum.
All right. Perfect. Perfect. Before we get started, I wanted to check and see if Commissioner Pritchford was online with us. She had indicated she would be joining us virtually. Just wanted to acknowledge her if she was with us. And if not, when she comes on, we'll do so. I guess first order of business, we want to move to approve our July 8th minutes.
Make a motion that we approve. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the July minutes as noted.
Perfect. We have second.
Second. All right. Chair Jackson, there's been a proper motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Your minutes are approved.
All right. Good enough. Next, we'll move to our citizens comment period. And as I understand, we do not have any that have.
No, sir, we do not have any citizens that signed up. However, I do defer to Patrick, Council Basie, for any further instruction.
Okay.
So, Chair Jackson, it's up to you and the committee. If you would like to allow members of the public to speak for a set amount of time, you can, with the approval of the committee.
All right. Well, my colleagues, I know there's a nice young lady over there who came up on the elevator with me, and are we in agreement? We give them 2-minute limit. That being the case, would you like to say something? Okay, and if we can have her step to the microphone here at the podium, down here. Oh, there we go. No, you can stand right there and speak. Is it on? And if you would state your name.
Hello, my name is Jasmine Countess, and I'm just here because I heard about this meeting online, and I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a suggestion. I was not one of the former Creighton residents who was moved into the housing voucher choice program. However, I am someone who lives in one of the properties where a lot of those residents went. What I would like to ask you guys, what I would like to implore you guys to do is before you make any decisions about the next project-based housing voucher or whatever plans you may have, please review the sites that you've already mass exodized these people to and review the effects that it has had on the area before you make any decisions. Because I live in one of these places. And I just would like, as a community member, for you guys to understand from a level.
And we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Has this adversely affected you in some special way? And how did it, if you don't mind sharing?
The complex that I live in, I've been living there since December the 16th. When I moved out there, it was a very pleasant looking and very pleasant atmosphere, I should say. Now it is being mismanaged horribly. I do have a housing choice, voucher, but I didn't move with them. I just moved in December. So, one of the very first things you're supposed to do when you move into an apartment is you're supposed to do a checklist of everything that's wrong with the place. The management is so poor that they still have not come through and fixed anything. The elevator is not working right now because Walmart just called me and told me that they were trying to deliver my food, but they had to take it to the 5th floor. There's a window broken on the 4th floor. They shoot out there all the time. They fired security. They don't have a property manager. I went in there 5 days in a row. They didn't have a property manager. They had to send somebody from corporate. She was there for 2 days and left. I don't know if they have a property manager today because I haven't been there, but I did call HUD last week and I asked them to do an inspection and they completed it yesterday. So there is something for you guys to review.
If you don't mind, before you leave, if you will see Miss Logan and just write down your apartment community so that we can be aware of that. We're not going to ask you to voice that, publicly, but if you will write that down so that
Absolutely.
we can follow up.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I want to say we're sorry that you have to live like that and have to live in those situations. That's not our intent for that to be.
Absolutely.
certainly
And that's
looking
why I
into
reached out to HUD because I didn't feel like I should have to. And you guys responded with a very quick, response time. So I'm grateful for that. I called on Wednesday. You guys called me back Thursday. I'm perfectly fine with the response time and you guys actually coming out on Monday. So thank you.
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you for respectfully stating your concerns. We've got time for others. Is there anyone online who is interested in voicing a concern? And we can limit you to about 2 minutes. If none being the case, we will continue to move forward. Yes, Ms. Colleen, you have a question? Okay. Yeah. Is that someone trying to speak? Don't be shy. We're here. We want to hear you. Paula,
Peace. Yes.
please state your name.
Dream Boyd.
Good evening.
How y'all doing?
Doing well, thank you. Go ahead.
Thanks. I would just like to, I appreciate the young lady who spoke up, and then I just want to voice other concerns about the management. Like, whose responsibility is it if a resident was interested in building a resident management corporation as an option to help with the issue of management? I'm not quite sure of that procedure or who to direct that question to or how that works.
Thank you for your question. Mr. Nesmith, CEO, would you mind responding to that?
Yes, so management corporation is something that used to exist many years ago. I remember where I grew up, they had one. Ms. Dream, I'll have you speak to Ms. Sherrill about that.
All right, so we have time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for voicing your concern. We have time for just one other public comment. Is there anyone else who would like to be heard? Okay. All right, we'll continue to proceed. Next, we have chair updates. And I think I've welcomed everyone. And, obviously been watching from social media and just the communication has been great. I know we have a lot of people out there with a lot of opinions, and I'm very pleased with the manner in which we have responded and continue to educate the general public about the whole Gilpin concern. I want to, as we've done previously, the vote was taken up here in this committee, and we passed that vote. And as many of you are aware, that vote will come back in front of the full board at next week's meeting. But I just wanted to take the opportunity to make a formal statement. As I've done in the past as chair of the real estate committee, I approve the sending of this discussion on the Gilpin Court Section 18 application and discussion on the Gilpin Court redevelopment in the larger context of the Jackson Ward Community Plan. And that will be taken up on September the 17th, next Wednesday. This is due to ongoing negotiations with the city, and I understand that there's been great progress on that in that regard. And I just wanted to make that an official statement that as a committee, we are still recommending it go to the full board and allowing it to be fully discussed at that point. Just wanted that to be known for the record because it is going back. So that being the case, up next we have a public hearing.
Let me say good evening, board members, and to all of our guests and my colleagues that are joining us by virtual, who's on GoToMeetings. Ms. McClary, if you will pull up the presentation just in case. This public hearing is in regard to an application and a resolution that is on the agenda. Our development partner is Standard Communities. It is coming through our conduit bond program, which we enjoy an allocation with other housing authorities in that pool coming from the Commonwealth. I do want to call your attention before I turn it over to Mr. Michael Graff, Attorney Graff, and or Attorney Curtis Saunders, if they are with us. Attorney Graff and his office at McGuire Woods handles our conduit bond program in coordination with RECD. But in your package, you do have the map, and Mr. Parker, the first page is out of the presentation that you see. The second page just gives you a little bit more information about what's around it. So we wanted to make sure that you had this and were aware of it. You received an electronic copy of the PowerPoint, and this is the same PowerPoint or slide deck that was shared at a community meeting in Southside hosted by Council Member Nicole Jones, because we always ensure that our local city council elected official whose district the project falls in, they have their own process, and we wanted to make sure of that. Our developer is Standard Communities. We have many representatives from them on with us this evening. Mr. Graff, will you, or Ms. Saunders, Attorney Saunders, will you take it over now and then introduce them, or I can at this time, however you would like to proceed. Attorney Graff or Attorney Saunders?
What is the project?
Are you with us?
What are they talking about?
Hello? Okay, well, I see Miss Caitlin Clausen on there, and Caitlin, if you and the Standard Community team would
Ms.
unveil
Hampton,
yourself.
can you hear Mike Graff on the phone?
I cannot. I hear you now, but I could not
Oh.
before, so I do
Well,
apologize.
I had muted myself. I apologize.
Not
Ms.
a problem.
Hampton, I am here, and you would already move toward introducing Caitlin from Standard. I think that probably makes sense to hear briefly from our development partner.
Okay, and then I'll turn it back over to you, Attorney Graff. So
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you. If our Standard Community partners could unveil themselves, come on video, and Caitlin, I'll allow you to share some highlights from this. Tell us what page in the essence of time. Tell us where you are in that presentation, and introduce the rest yourself and the rest of your colleagues from Standard Communities. Caitlin?
And Caitlin, I had to hit *6 on my phone in order to be heard, so I don't know if that would be helpful.
Yes, Caitlin, we can't hear you. Don't know if you can hear us. Can Caitlin? Oh, okay, we still can't hear you, Caitlin. So as you work with this, Attorney Graff, do you want to come back on, or do you want?
Sure. Yeah, I'm happy to, Cheryl,
Okay.
and you can you would know better than me what the committee members sort of want to focus on. But this is another application from a private developer of affordable housing under the authority's conduit revenue bond program, and they've submitted an application for their German School Road affordable apartments complex, which we've reviewed, and we've noticed a public hearing properly in the Richmond Times-Dispatch and the Richmond Free Press. And the purpose of the meeting before the Real Estate Committee this evening is to take any public comment on the application in advance of the full commission considering an inducement resolution with respect to the project at its commission meeting next week. And the committee members will recall that under our conduit revenue bond program, the authority can provide incentives to the construction and rehabilitation of affordable apartments by the private sector at no cost to the housing authority or the city, but under federal tax laws, the authority can act as a conduit pass-through facilitator of tax-advantaged lower interest financing for affordable apartments projects like this German School Road project. It also enables the developers to access housing tax credit, which is another incentive that can be brought to bear at no cost to the authority or the city. And so in addition to incentivizing the construction and rehabilitation of affordable apartments in the city, the housing authority is entitled to administrative fees to provide that conduit issuing service, and that enables the housing authority to generate unrestricted revenues that it can then use for other of its redevelopment and housing purposes. So, Cheryl, I don't know if there are other aspects of this particular application that you wanted to highlight for the committee, or if the standard folks were able to join the call.
Thank you so much, Attorney Graff. Caitlin, can you speak now, and let's see if we hear you? Caitlin, can you hear us? Will you raise your hand if you hear us? Okay, so you hear us, but we still cannot hear you. So I'm going to go through just a few pages of the presentation. If that's okay, I'm not sure. I know Attorney Graff said hit *6. Did you try that?
I'm sure I'll
Okay.
also tell her that in the invite, there's a link that goes directly just for calling in. There's a number.
Okay. Do you want it? There's a link in the meeting invite or the agenda that tells you where you can just call in directly if you want to try that. And I'll turn it over to you once you get in. Thank you. You will call in. Okay. I'll go ahead and start it off just in case, in the essence of time. I'd like Ms. McClary to turn to the fourth page by the numbers, just to share something about Standard Communities. They are not new to the state. They're a nationwide developer. You see some information by with 27,000 units. They have 22 communities and some 4,000 units within their DMV thing. Next page, please.
Cheryl, can you hear me?
If not, there's nowhere.
Can you all hear me? This is
Yes,
Judd.
we hear you. So if you would like to take over, Judd, that is
Sure.
okay.
Happy
Yes.
to. And unfortunately, Caitlin and I have opposite problems. I can't get my camera to work. So,
And she can't get her voice
yeah,
to
we
work.
just need to
Okay,
combine
no
efforts here.
problem.
So Caitlin's just joined me, and unfortunately, you can't see us. But in the interest of time, we'll just keep moving here. Is that okay?
Yes, that would be fine. Go over. We were just showing them some of your projects. The Woodbridge, we're on that slide where you're
Yeah,
showing
perfect.
Woodbridge and San Ramon and Savannah.
Excellent. Thank you. So we wanted to highlight just a few of our recent deliveries. These are all multifamily projects, two of which are income restricted affordable. As you can see, they span the country. We're delivering one in Woodbridge, Virginia, that you can see here, which is 240 units, multifamily, and then we are actually under construction for another in Hawaii as we speak. So just want to give a sense of the breadth of our work. All right, next slide. Joyfield is a brand that we've developed in-house, specifically as part of a national platform to emphasize the quality and provide a recognizable standard of excellence. And so Joyfield really speaks to the workforce and affordable demographic that we're trying to reach, which allows for new construction, new delivery of quality multifamily units for really the missing middle. So really for
Someone needs to mute. I think someone, if you can mute your side, please.
I'll keep going if you can hear me okay. So we really are looking to support the backbone of the economy, teachers, retail workers, healthcare, people who we really want in our community to have access to the same quality, neighborhood amenities and close to places of employment. Next slide. I think we don't need to spend too much time on this, but obviously we recognize that there is an enormous housing need, specifically within affordable housing within Richmond. Rents have continued to skyrocket across the country, particularly coming out of COVID. So providing income restricted affordable housing where that increase is capped annually is really important. We're trying to meet the need of the Richmond community. Next slide. So this gets into the project specifics. So this project is located at 250 East German School Road. Next slide. As you can see from the aerial, this is showing just where the project's located, south of Midlothian, north of Warwick, and very adjacent to the new Southside Community Center, which we're very excited about. We're just off of 250 East, just off of German School Road. There are 234 build for rent townhouse units here, ranging from 3 and 4 bedroom units. And we also, if you go to the next slide, we're providing on-site amenities in the form of bicycle parking. There's approximately 2 parking spaces per unit, so ample parking. There's a clubhouse and amenity center on site, which has full-time leasing and property management staff. There's a dog park and a tot lot playground. There's also a central green that would be a gathering place for the community. Next slide. And as part of the site amenities, we really want to establish, again, kind of a strong, vibrant community that we feel is comparable to any market rate community in the area. It just happens to be income restricted. And so you'll see examples of the types of quality site furnishings that we provide. Next slide. So in terms of safety and security, we want to make sure that that the community feels safe, that the broader community does as well. And so we provide direct access to the units, obviously, for these townhouses in the form of smart locks that the property management team would issue. There are surveillance, keeping perspectives throughout the kind of common areas of the property, just like any multifamily project would as well. And site lighting would also provide security and safety throughout the community. Next slide. This is a rendering of the inside and outside of the community center, which would provide, again, kind of market rate quality furnishings. This is where the property management would be based, as well as the on-site maintenance team. This would also include a business center, fitness, bike parking, etc. This is showing what the project would look like. So we use high quality, high durability finishes that will last a very long time, but also, I think provide a contemporary take on townhouse living. Next slide. Some interior unit photography. This is what the inside of these units would look like. Again, light, bright, high durability flooring throughout, solid surface countertops, stainless steel appliances and fixtures. Next slide. Sampling of our interior finishes. Next slide. And this is really speaking to, again, kind of demographic that we're providing housing for. So I don't think we need to spend a ton of time on this other than to highlight that within the kind of 60% capped AMI rents, these will be set at just under $1,700 and $1,900 respectively for 3 and 4 bedroom units. Next slide. Ooh. And as you can see from kind of the neighboring offerings within the area, this presents a pretty significant savings, particularly for these size units. So it's difficult to find 3 and 4 bedroom units generally within multifamily, particularly with direct access in the form of townhouse living, and with no additional expenses for parking. And for 4 bedroom in particular, for family size units, you're typically having to look at kind of individual owner for rent op. Next slide. This is our timeline for delivery and lease up. So we're anticipating breaking ground early next year, hopefully in building permit phase, and we're excited to bring this community to market.
Ms. Hampton, I apologize. I wasn't able to figure out how to work my microphone, but thank you for including us in the agenda. Thank you to the Richmond Housing Authority for all your support on this project thus far. In terms of the timeline, we're seeking an inducement resolution at this meeting, and then the following wider board meeting later this month, and then city council approval in September. At that point, we would be able to apply for bond allocation from the governor's pool with an anticipated closing early next year. So we're really excited about this project and to be able to provide some family affordable units to the city of Richmond, and just are thankful for the partnership and the support thus far.
Thank you so much to you and Judd. I think now, Attorney Graff, we can stop and take questions if you feel that is appropriate at this point in time.
Absolutely. We also just want to note for the record that we noticed a public hearing, and so if there's anyone from the public that wants to speak on the application, we should afford them an opportunity to do so as well.
Yeah.
So I have a question. Can we go over the fee structure of, is there a breakdown of what those fees look like to the authority?
Yeah, this is Mike Graff. The current fee schedule is a graduated fee. It's based on the size of the financing. There's an initial application fee, which Ms. Hampton and I have been talking about maybe tweaking. I think it's currently $3,500, relatively nominal application fee. And then the origination fee at the closing of the financing under the authority's current schedule, it's a graduated fee. It's 1% of the first $5 million in principal, and then an additional 0.5% for the amount between 5 and 10 million, an additional 0.25% for the amount from 10 million to 15 million, and then an additional 0.8% above 15 million. So assuming that this, and sometimes the sizing of the financing moves around a bit, but on a $45 million financing. Gosh, Cheryl, I calculated that before. I can't remember, but I think it's around, it's over $100,000 for sure.
It's 125.
Yeah, 125,000 would be projected at the closing, and then there's an ongoing 1/8 to 1% fee annually on the on the financing as it amortizes over time.
Thank you. Okay. My colleagues, do you all have any questions?
What is the bond rating for the bonds we'll be issuing?
Michael,
So
you want to
I
take
think,
that?
yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to try to take that, and Judd and Caitlin can jump in as well. These would typically not necessarily be rated. There's a project finance, so it's payable from the rents and other revenues at the project, and depending upon the structure of the financing and the collateral, sometimes they're rated, sometimes they're cash collateralized, in which case, like a short-term cash collateralized bonds would carry a very high credit rating. But and I don't know, Caitlin and Judd, if you sort of picked your structure yet, but in many instances, these would be unrated, placed directly with a financial institution like a like a commercial bank.
That's right, Mike. Just would add that they'd either be privately placed long-term or it'd be a tax-exempt loan structure with Freddie Mac.
Mr. Parker, you have any questions?
Oh, yes. Good evening, Attorney Graff and Caitlin. What is determined, we're saying affordable housing. What is affordable about this? What is the dollar figures we're talking about as far as being affordable housing?
So the rents would be restricted at or below 60% of area median income. So it's 234 units. We're also really grateful for the Housing Authority to be a partner on this deal, and providing 25% of the units will be covered by project-based vouchers. The rent that it's charged at these units are significantly below what you would get in an unrestricted unit of equivalent like finishes and location. In fact, it's probably 25 to 35% below what you would get in the marketplace. So we can go back to one of the slides with the rent level. Or the
Slide 17.
What is that again?
It's slide 17. If Ms. McClary would go back, it lists out the rents, and they say what they're going to stay at, and the AMI. And we also have deeply affordable because we have 68 project vouchers there, I believe. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, 62. So the 3-bedroom, the rent charge on the 3 bedrooms would be around $1,600 a month for a family, of at least probably 4. You have parents and 2 kids, or grandparent, mixed generations, and then a 4-bedroom. The monthly rent would be $1,844, and compared to nearest comp, which is new construction nearby, those you'd be paying $2,800 a month for a 3-bedroom, which is about 70% more expensive than the rent we'd be charging at Joyfield at German School Road. For housing that's not new construction but nearby the property, anywhere between $2,500 to $2,700 for nearby property for 4-bedroom, which is almost 35 to 50% more expensive. So we are trying, this is capital A, affordable, it's rent restricted. We're really excited about bringing really high quality housing for families specifically to the city of Richmond.
They were mentioning today on the television about affordable housing in Richmond. They were talking about Scott's Addition and also some of the units on Broad Street and what is affordable housing. So that's the reason why I asked the question, is how affordable will this be in your project? That's just one of my questions. Thank you for answering that. My other question is, how about local participation as far as building this project? What are you looking at as far as that's concerned? I didn't see anything in the resolution about it, and so there's no requirements of that. But are we looking at goals for participation or whatever?
Hi, this is Joe of Standard Communities. We are working with local builder who would certainly be looking at local labor and local subcontractor base to build this project. Chances are they're Richmond based or certainly in the immediate vicinity of Richmond. So as you say, there's no direct requirement, but it's always an emphasis that we include on the construction of the project.
Your projects in the past that you've had all over the United States, what has your participation been with that in standard community developer? What have you done with that?
In terms of local participation? Well, it's difficult to track, if it's required, we usually meet or exceed that threshold. That varies depending on the state jurisdiction of financing. So I can't give you precise numbers, but my guess is it's a pretty significant portion of, I can tell you, in the recent projects we've delivered in the Woodbridge area, these are all local and immediate region subcontractor base.
Thank you.
So I'd like to piggyback with my colleague Commissioner Parker was. Obviously, we do not have any standards as such, but just drilling down a little bit more in regards to local participation, what's the pattern projects? Are you able to speak to that at all? Just basically out of curiosity.
Again, it's difficult to say unless it's there's a reporting requirement for the project based on the location and financing, and we're not necessarily tracking that explicitly. But I'm happy to see if we can find some information offline and provide that.
The only thing we can add is that this is a long-term investment from our team. So in addition to the construction opportunities that would be available to the local residents, there's also long-term property management opportunities, and that includes property management, leasing staff, maintenance on these properties. So this project will bring a lot of increased local tax revenues and then also some employment opportunities in the local jurisdiction.
Thank you. What we want to, I'm almost sure that my colleague, particularly Commissioner Parker, we would like to add a caveat. We would like to have some sort of understanding of what minority participation will be like on this project. Understand that you're in discussions with the builder. $45 million is not a small sum, and we definitely like, the aspects, the 60%, the affordability. We want to make it as comprehensive or conclusive as possible so that everyone gets a fair shake, not just where they live, but opportunities to help put this project together.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
So if I hear you correctly, you would like to have vote and approval subject to the developer incentive, providing RRHA with regular reporting on its efforts as it relates to minority hiring of local minority and women-owned small businesses here in Richmond. Is that correct?
I think you said it well.
Very well.
I think you said it well. That's what we like to see. And I know it isn't mandatory and so forth and so on, but we're trying to get some good faith efforts done here in Richmond and try to give some people some jobs and keep some money in Richmond as we go forward.
Chairman, this is Commissioner Pitchford. I had a question, but if y'all want to move on, I understand.
No, we would like to have you involved. Good evening, Commissioner Pitchford. We would like to have you
Evening
involved in
to
this
all.
conversation.
Yeah, but you know, I know time is of the essence.
That's okay.
My question is, I heard the rent and I heard the rent cost and I heard the that you are seeking project-based vouchers. My question is the 1,400 with the project voucher, or the 14 is the cost of it as a whole in general?
The 1,400, sorry, 1660 and the 1844. That is the non-subsidized rent. So if you had a project-based voucher, the payment that you would make monthly would be significantly less than that, depending on your AMI level.
Okay, that's all. And I appreciate that because it sounds like I love how it looks. I just wanted to know, you know, how affordable it is for the people who will be getting the getting the vouchers. You did an excellent job at answering that question. I have no more.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, 2 questions I have.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. The 60% AMI, how long does that run on the properties for? Is that in perpetuity or is there a sunset clause?
Yeah, there's 30-year affordability. So the LIHTC compliance period is 15, and we'll go beyond that.
Thank you.
With the intent of, I just want to also clarify that Standard Communities is an affordable housing developer, so we have no intentions of not keeping this affordable.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And then the second question, I think you might have answered it, is Freddie Mac the purchaser of the bonds, or you all are still working out the structure?
We're still working on the structure. It seems that they are interested in it and partnering with us on this.
Thank you. Those are my questions.
Any other questions?
I'd like to just add one thing that I think the committee should take note of. In light of the very fluid or volatile federal funding, Virginia housing, due to a non-predictability in federal funds, is looking at how they underwrite projects that have project-based vouchers and others. And this funding is one of the gap sources of funding that would allow the project to move forward. So I just wanted to share that with all committee members.
And thank you. That is good information. And
Yeah, that's excellent.
yes, as chair of the committee, I would be in favor of this pending the development groups meeting a monthly report as it pertains to small women and minority participation on this project. I would feel very comfortable reporting it with that caveat.
Chairman, this is Joe with Standard. We certainly support that goal. I just want to be clear, though, that traditionally that comes with added cost to the project in terms of administration and oversight. We're happy to investigate that, though.
And Mr. Chair, may I
Yes.
ask one thing for your consideration and the other committee members' consideration? Ms. Orsini, how do we get our Section 3 and MBE goals now, on a quarterly basis, or is it monthly? Monthly. Okay, I was gonna ask, in these non-RRHA contract, could we go to a quarterly basis just to alleviate the hardship, and also work with them on the events? But I understand your point. You need to put that on the floor for consideration. That's all.
And Ms. Sherrill, you always bring very qualified and good points for consideration. I think we have covered a great amount of ground with our vendor procurement, our contracts. And again, I want to reiterate, And I understand that there's an additional cost, but I think it is well worth it. The community will be very receptive. The community as a whole, because when we begin to talk about affordability, 9 times out of 10, it falls on a certain group of people, and we want a complete buy-in. We want the greatest amount of success for you, and so that would be the only caveat, and I would feel very comfortable supporting it if we meet those guidelines.
Mr. Chair, may I
Yes,
ask
ma'am.
just one question? To Caitlin and Judd, do you intend to have, or would you be applying for any other federal or local funding from the city or the state that may require Section 3 or MBE, WBE, or any reporting like that?
We are currently applying or have an application in for some support, subordinate financing from Virginia DHCD for the Virginia Housing Trust Funds, and then for some energy efficiency funds as well. Neither of those funds have any like additional requirements beyond what we're already doing, which is,
okay,
in my opinion, a good thing, because we're kind of meeting the standard that would be required from this Commonwealth of Virginia already. Two things that I just did want to highlight as we're talking about this, and I think we hear you that this is really important, and we will do what we can to make sure that we're meeting those reporting requirements and getting you the information that we need. But we won't be able to provide that post-closing, because the general contractor usually buys out subcontractors after financial closing. So we wouldn't be able to probably, provide that sort of information until we get into an actual construction and able to, report on that or give you the information that you would need, or that you're looking for. And then the other comment that I just wanted to make is that we are adhering to Davis Bacon, which is prevailing wages, which is also one of the highest standards in terms of labor wages for affordable housing.
So, Caitlin, I want to make sure that it's clear to my committee members, you all would report, but it would be when at that point in the project, as you start construction. But we would want to make sure and work with you in supplying a list of vendors or contractors in the area, and if there are any hiring events that your contractor has to consider our housing authority tenants who are applicable, and you could do some of those events on the sites or such. So I just want to make sure that the committee understands that you won't start this, but I'm looking for some assurance that the chair and this committee's recommendation, should they move forward, that standard communities would agree. And if there's something that could be sent back as to your efforts early before our board meeting on the 17th, I think that would give the committee a little more comfort. We understand what you're saying, but if you could give something back in writing to some of the actions you could commit to, I think that would be another added extra information for the committee and board to accept.
Sure, we can connect to Morgan Keller, who's the general contractor on the company, about some of these potential job fairs and best efforts to hire WB.
And once the project is completed, who would own it?
It would be owned by Standard Communities as the controlling general partner, and then the 99% limited partner is the tax credit investor. So it's a LIHTC ownership structure. But Standard
What is LIHTC? What is LIHTC?
That's
Well,
the tax credits, Commissioner Pitcher. That's Virginia Housing's tax credit programs. We just use the acronym LIHTC.
Sorry to ask so many questions. I don't know all of those terminology.
Please never apologize. Never
No,
apologize.
questions are great. We want to make sure everyone's comfortable with the proposed investment and the partnership, and so we're.
So once this project, if it is approved, will the same entities that we are voting on, will that stay in place or that could change?
The same entities will stay in place. Standard Communities is a affordable housing developer, so we maintain long-term ownership of our projects, and we invest and maintain them for 30 plus years.
But as long as the chair is happy, I'm gonna vote along with the chair is suggesting.
Commissioner Pritchford, this project is, they have come to us for assistance in bond financing. And so this is an unsolicited effort on their part, and they have done their due diligence and presented the project. And we're at this point in consideration now with some additional requirements. And that's what we're discussing tonight.
Right. I thought that's what you're talking about, the bond, because we've had other people come from like Henrica won the bond with us and all that. So I understood that. I just was saying I'm gonna vote along with whichever way you vote. That's what I'm saying, because you know a little bit more than I know on this. I am totally understanding of bonds because we have gone down this route with other bonds. So that's
Yes,
what I
ma'am.
was saying.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So I don't know that this is necessarily for this specific bond issuance, but just Section 3 and MB has become a really important part of the projects that we do here at RRHA. And I know that we've asked Mr. Graff in the past to kind of figure out how we make our bond conduit program more competitive, particularly with Harrisonburg. And I can't remember if it's Chesapeake. A really competitive program. So maybe it would be a good idea. I appreciate Standard Community's willingness to adhere to this quarterly requested reporting, but maybe it would be a good monthly. Maybe it would be a good idea to work with Mr. Graff, Ms. Hampton, Mr. Nesmith to figure out how to incorporate this into our conduit bond program so that it's a known entity for those organizations out there that are looking for bond funding pursuant to the LIHTC program. That way it can be built into their cost structure.
And that makes sense. Absolutely. But it definitely makes sense, and so that there are no gotchas, and we appreciate your flexibility. Definitely. Now, let me ask you, as it pertains to when we get to that portion, are we still going to be voting on this resolution, or does it change based on the caveat that we require?
This is Mike Graff from McGuire-Woods, and again, I'm sorry I wasn't able to join where you could see my handsome but increasingly older face. But to that point, we've done this before, and there is a provision in the bond resolution that's defined as the borrower's special commitments, and it relates to things like making affirmative efforts to include small local women and minority-owned businesses in the project. So I think we've got the infrastructure in the resolution that's before you, before the committee this evening to contemplate this. I think it makes sense if you all agree that Ms. Hampton and I can go back to the standard folks between now and the full commission meeting and maybe get you some, put some flesh on that bone as to what standard would be expected to do going forward, and we can present that to the full commission. But this is certainly something that we've required of our revenue bond applicants in the past, and we've always been able to, do it in a way that satisfies the legitimate policy concerns of the authority, but doesn't unduly burden the our development partner.
Okay. All right. That's good enough. At least from my perspective, my colleagues, you're in agreement with that? Okay. Commissioner Pritchford, you in agreement with that?
Yes, I'm in agreement with that. It's the Hardeman kind of laid out, and you kind of laid out a good path, and Mr. Parker, y'all laid out a good path. So I'm in agreement.
Okay. All right. Good enough. Well, if there are no more, is that a hand raised there?
It's mine. I don't know how to shut it down. So
No, you're fine. I think there's
don't
another
want
one. Is that?
Yes, it is another hand raised.
Chair Jackson, I do want to remind you, sir, that because this is a part of the public hearing,
yes,
we do want to grant some time for members of the public to speak to the project. So that may be why the hand is raised.
Okay. Is that, I see a hand raised, and please forgive me if I mispronounce your name. Is that Amarie? My bifocals, I don't know if they get that.
Hello.
There you are. Good evening.
Hi. My name's Amori. I'm a community organizer. I was just asking about the amount of affordable units. Is the whole property going to be affordable units, or is there a certain amount going to be affordable units? And if so, or are we differentiating affordable units versus like voucher assisted units as well? Thank you.
Yeah, Emery, thanks for the question. We are happy to report that 100% of the units will be affordable.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I'd like to just comment, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Graff, you're with McGuire Woods?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I know that Anthony Romanelli in Henrico County at the EDA, we put some language in there similar to what you're talking about this afternoon. So
yes,
you might look to Anthony and what Henrico's been doing over there is inclusion for MDEs and DDEs.
Absolutely. In fact, I work with Anthony and the EO over there on their matters, and so we've definitely got language, and we'll make sure that we've got it tightened up and presented to you more fully before the meeting next week.
Right. That language makes everything clear, makes everything positive, and we can all move forward. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir.
I recognize another hand, and it just says resident there. Now the hand is, yes.
Peace. Yes, it's Dream here again. Question, will there be an opportunity in this new development for the residents to invest in the property and like receive equity in it?
Thanks for the question. Not in the way that the low-income housing tax credit program works, but would certainly be interested in talking to you offline about what your interests are, and if there's anything that we can do to support that.
Okay, thank
I
you.
like
Who
your
is that
thinking.
talking? Okay, who said that?
This is Caitlin Gossens from the Standard Community team.
Okay, got it. Just so I know who I'm talking to, that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I would suggest, Dream, that you follow with Miss Hampton, who is the Senior Vice President of Real Estate.
Real estate.
She has a direct contact. Okay.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Yes,
So Chair Jackson, unless Attorney Graff has anything else, there's no other citizens that want to speak. We can close the public hearing and continue with the agenda.
Okay. All right. Any other comments, questions, concerns? All right. Well, moving on. Real estate department updates.
Yes. The next item we have on the agenda is an update on the Highland Grove property, which is requesting a second amendment to its disposition and development agreement. And to speak on that, we have Ms. Greta Harris, who is CEO of Better Housing Coalition. Greta, let's see if we can hear you.
Evening, Stephen. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity to address the committee. As Stephen said, I'm Greta Harris, the president of the Better Housing Coalition, and we are the master developer for Highland Grove, which is a 125 unit homeownership subdivision, mixed income, that will invest about $60 million into the local economy in Northside. This project has been a labor of love. It's been going on for a little bit over 5 years, where we purchased roughly 35 acres from the Housing Authority for $500,000. That parcel that we purchased has a small sliver of former Dove Court public housing land that's part of what we purchased. We have worked in partnership with the City of Richmond to assemble capital improvement dollars. Better Housing Coalition has brought private sector dollars, and the infrastructure is well underway in phase 1, and we are working diligently on completing phase 2 of the infrastructure, which is bringing in new water, sewer lines, roads, sidewalks, lighting, etc. This is a very unique partnership whereby Better Housing Coalition is doing the land development. And because of our partnership with the City of Richmond, we're able to sell buildable lots to 3 other nonprofit partners, Project Homes, Maggie Walker Community Land Trust, and Habitat for Humanity for below market pricing. And because of their different financing models for how they produce for sale housing, and coupled with the fact that we have single family detached duplexes and triplexes, we'll be able to offer a variety of different price points for the homes that will be for sale. The reason that we're here tonight is asking your approval on a second amendment that in essence streamlines the lot sale contract between all of the parties concerned and market rate developers. This is a mixed income community. This is what the neighborhood wanted. This is what Councilwoman Robertson wanted. And we love having an economically diverse community that we're a part of. The challenge has been, since the economic environment across the country has shifted over the last few years, interest rates are up. There is a lot of uncertainty around acts of potential tariffs, and we're still dealing with increased costs for labor and material since COVID. The market rate developers are looking for simple, streamlined opportunities to build without a lot of uncertainty and risks. A typical lot sale contract is somewhere between 10 and 15 pages. Because of the various levels of funding coming in to this development from the City of Richmond, and because some of the land was former public housing land, a very small portion, our contracts are about 150 pages for a single lot purchase. And we've had 3 market rate developers to push back from the table and say they don't know all of the risks that are in these large lot purchase contracts, and they have moved away from the project. These are partners that we've worked with in other developments that Better Housing Coalition has done, and it is unfortunate that we can't get them back to the table. So we appreciate Mr. Nesmith, his team, his attorney, And we've been able to negotiate an additional amendment that is before the committee tonight that really just removes some of the uncertainty from the contracts. It simplifies it and streamlines it so that we can attract the market rate builders back to the table, sell the lots, and create a very cool mixed income subdivision right in the heart of the city of Richmond. So our request tonight is to, we're happy to try to answer any questions that you have about the amendment, and then get your recommendation to the full commission in a few weeks for approval so that we can sell the balance of market rate lots for this project.
Mr. Chair, if I can say, I've worked really hard. We did with the Developers Council and our council to make sure that there was a balance of equities, I might say, in the language in this amendment. So
that was my question. Did it reduce our liabilities? Or my colleagues, you have any? Thank you. We appreciate your explanation and sharing the ask with us tonight. My colleagues, do you have any questions? Commissioner Pritchard.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to think how to answer it, so I'll just wait. I was waiting for Hardigan to see what he was. I wasn't trying to be funny. I was just waiting for Hardigan.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
It's hard to discern exactly what those streamline changes are that you mentioned with the document in front of us. Is there a way that we can see a red line version prior to the commission vote in order to just see what those changes are exactly in the context of the plan, the agreement?
Herein lies the benefit of having our council on our board. That question answered?
Thank you.
Have any other questions?
So, Chair Jackson, the resolution are on at the end under number 9.
Mm-hmm.
So you all can continue with the real estate updates, and then we'll take the resolutions up at one time.
Sounds like a winner to me. All right, as we continue to move forward, update on our active Big Six real estate project.
And thank you very much. I'm going to sign off now, but thank you.
Thank you.
I think we moved through these pretty quickly. First is on Gilpin Court. We spent a lot in the media about Gilpin Court. I think we learned a lot from April, I guess, of this year when we went before the board, and sure one vote we have learned a lot since then. Our theme, actually, I think it's been well received, not just in community meetings, meeting with activists and residents and city council and the mayor, is that since then we've been listening, we've been learning, we've definitely been integrating ideas and feedback that we've gotten and to build more consensus to come up with a better overall redevelopment plan. And so I think you'll hear some of that, I believe, when the board next at the full meeting will appoint a resident to the RDC board. You'll hear about then at that time an idea that I have, which some other communities have, which is creating a resident advisory committee to the RDC board. I'll talk a little bit more about that, where it really empowers the residents. But we are in, I would say, very positive conversations with city council, the mayor, and the president of city council, and with the folks of the larger Jackson Ward community, in that we should be developing Gilpin in that context of the larger Jackson Ward community plan. So I'll stop there, and we are very hopeful about that. The next item on the agenda is a 9-mile Sprout School project. This is a project. It's taken a little bit longer. When you get multiple lawyers involved, that's exactly what happens. It wasn't helpful that I'm also a lawyer, corporate lawyer, and so this went on, I think, a little longer because so many lawyers involved. But Ms. Hampton, you want to talk a little bit about it? I'm really excited about. There's two parcels. The first parcel is a Sprout School. I think is extraordinarily exciting. Where they'll be giving free education to African American youth. And then with that, on that same parcel, there's affordable rental. And then the second parcel is all home ownership. And we're very excited about it as well. This is a project that I can clearly say that's been fully vetted because of the time that it took. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Ms. Hampton.
CEO Nesmith, and thank you. It's phase 2 that has the home ownership component, and those are different lots. And that is still under negotiation. Mr. Nesmith is leading that, but this project closed. We did employ a community benefit there, but we still receive proceeds from the sale of that project.
And I'm happy to report that we did work overtime, and the second portion of it is going to close.
Okay.
I just did that with the lawyers. Yes.
Okay. All right, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm not going to go into the narrative report you received, but just want to note, please make sure on your calendars,
16.
it's September 16th
10 to
at
12.
10 a.m. That's right. Begins at 10 a.m. It's going to be a grand day for Creighton Court and its residents and those residents that have just stayed on site and moved from phase to phase because they didn't want to leave. But a grand day for Creighton Court and a beautiful facility. So just wanted to say that to you. As it relates to Mosby Court.
Can I say one thing?
Yes,
What's
sir.
also important is the fact to it that when we hand those keys out, we think there'll be about 25 residents. There'll be some plus or minus, and it will be the first time. This is a fact in just over a decade that we have moved on substantial redevelopment of public housing in the city. Now you can say that's a good thing and a bad thing, right? We know that CEOs have come and gone, expertise have gone, lack of confidence. We can do all those things, but that's a fact. That it's because of 13 years since then. We triple checked that fact, so it's a great thing. Now it's going to be a mixture. We're working really hard. We'll talk more about it. Some former Creighton public housing residents. You'll have some RRHA voucher holders, and then there'll be some light tech as well. So we think that this opportunity is not just about, and what we told the mayor, not just about former public housing residents, but this opportunity will help address the larger affordable housing crisis in the city, because it's not just public housing. But this is all affordable. There's no market rate.
And AKA, it's a very big deal.
Going now to item D, just wanted to share that with the Mosby Court South. Mosby Court South, please insert that in your agenda. South was left off, but it is Mosby Court South. The developer there is TRG, the Richmond Group. They have submitted their application for a CUP to the city that's been submitted, and they are going through the back and forth with getting that CUP approved, and they hope to have it be introduced either late September or early October city council meeting. And the city council will introduce it, send it to the planning commission to go through their regular process with it. And we are hoping that they would approve it, and then it comes back to city council for approval. But just wanted you to know that.
All right, good enough. Thank you. And I imagine the CUP is that a much longer process than the SUP?
No, SUP is probably the longest, and then CUP, but it just depends.
Okay.
There have been several design changes. I think you'll be pleased, and we'll be coming back. We delayed the next meeting with the residents because we wanted to get all of the design changes from the city before we went back to them to see what the city had, all of their comments to be incorporated. But we hope that we could go back to our residents in October, but they've been informed. Our last meeting was in June, and so it's time for us to go back to them. We really wanted to go back this month, but we wanted to get all of these changes and comments and recommendations from the various departments in PDR and divisions and public utilities and everybody else. So,
all right. I know as it pertains to our agenda, that D concludes the updates, but I did have a question I think deserves public updating is Grace Place. That's been it's been on our list, and we should be somewhere about, my internal real estate ticker tells me we should be somewhere, something happening.
That's happy to report. They are moving towards finalizing their due diligence. I can also report that know that the deal is going to go through because of one particular marker, and that is we'll be signing a master development agreement, and that typically tells you whether or not the potential purchaser is going to say, "I'm not." So, as they are finalizing it to the end, they feel comfortable enough to enter into a master development agreement, and we hope right now our schedule is November that everything will be done. And it's great for us in terms of the revenue side. Yeah. And we've talked about that. That number has not moved. That's another good thing. And I think I want to take a moment for Sherelle to talk a little bit about just remind folks what the makeup of that. Those folks will be going in there. And the meeting we had, Councilman Robertson, that in her district, that building, and with some of the business community. Sherelle, talk a little about that.
thank you, CEO Nesbitt. On September 5th, we had a meeting with the developers, PRC and the Delane companies. Okay. That the Delane companies is a minority participating co-developer with PRC. We had invited just the businesses in the area that were around, and we're going to do one additional meeting with them coming up. So we'll be planning that again. The developer reviewed is 68 units. It is for elderly and persons with differing abilities. The project does include some ground floor commercial. We asked some questions about services for the proposed population of renters and so forth and such, and the amenities in. So we are hoping to meet again with them next week just to go over some questions that we had. And they are also moving forward because they have not the ground lease, but an option for the ground lease. They want to use historic tax credits in this project. So we did concur, Mr. Nesmith and RRHA concurred to allow them to put in the phase 1 application to start the process. So another indicator that they want to move forward with the project. So 68 units for seniors and persons with differing abilities. It's all affordable. It has PBV vouchers, a total of 68. So each household there will get one. And it also has a commercial component.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. And that concludes my report. If there are no other questions.
Commissioner Parker.
Ms. Hampton, thank you so much for your report. You said Delaney is partnering with PRC
The lane.
On the
It's-
project?
Yes, sir.
They from Richmond or where are they from?
No, I have so many of them in my head, Mr. Parker. I need to get back with you, but they have done work. They have done work for VCU.
They have?
Here, they have some student housing project here, in the city.
So they're minority-owned firm?
The lane is minority owned.
That's my question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you able to get them to come, not the lane in particular, but the PRC to come and give us a update on the project? Is that possible to do at some point in time?
Yes, yes, sir.
Appreciate that. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And I know we have our section 3 and MBE reports coming due before our resolutions, but just as a reminder, we do have to vote Commissioner Pritchford in, correct?
Yes, sir, you do. So, yeah. And we can do it right before the resolutions are voted?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. So we're ready for your part.
I'll be quick.
Good news
evening.
is always quick. Huh?
Right, yes. Good evening, commissioners and staff. If you've had a chance to review our report, you'll see that we've stayed pretty much where we're at right now for the last couple of months. We haven't had much changes. However, in each category, we have exceeded our goals that were for us last year, which is a good thing. Right now, we're sitting at 34.8% in MBE payments, 27% at Section 3, and 14% for WBE contractor payments. So I feel like we're going to end up the year with some really good goals reaching and look forward to exceeding those goals next year.
Great job. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any of my colleagues have questions?
The building across from 901 Chamberlain, they are renovating it now. I think because of part of the Gilpin portion. Is that what's that?
Yes, I can speak to that, Mr. Chairman.
And my question is there a minority firm or who's doing that work?
There's multiple vendors right now.
Multiple vendors. Okay.
Yeah, we've had a couple of, and so it is actually 901 that's getting renovated, right?
918.
918, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So we've had abatement in there, contractors. We have an HVAC contractor in there right now. That's JRC. They're a new contractor for us. Can't recall off the top of my head whether they're a minority vendor or not. I'd have to look and see. They haven't been paid yet, so they wouldn't show up on this report. And then we have a bid out at the moment for the actual rehab for, like building out the offices and the cubicle spaces and stuff like that. So
Total dollar figure on the renovation.
About 900 and some odd $1,000.
Yes.
Altogether,
Altogether, yeah, I believe.
Oh,
If I can give a little context. So when we made a decision to move 901, I'll call the headquarters, if you will, from 901 here, it was a smart thing. I mean, we're in a public meeting, but I'll just say the conditions in 901 was not good for our residents. Then when we, over at 918, for optics reasons, we couldn't leave them there, but more specific reasons, I'll just leave it and say that that's why we're having abatement work done there. And so we are just looking to get it habitable, to bring them back. And then in the out years, we're looking at doing some more, but right now, just on that.
Colleen, is that a part of the JOC program? Does that qualify? It doesn't.
It would qualify for the JOC program, but we're not doing it under JOC program. We've actually put out a solicitation, competitive proposal for that, sealed bidding basically for that. So that's how it's going to be determined. We didn't use the JOC contract.
Isn't that the reason why we have the JOC program for projects similar to that? What's the reason for
Yeah, it is, but yeah, it is. But we're trying to, I think we're going to go back out with our JOC program because we had a very good response. And I mean, when we got our responses back, I think we had a total of 4 minority firms that had applied. And so we're trying to slow down on using the job contract on the state, and so that we can get ours going. So that's why we haven't used the job program.
Yeah, and Mike Kelly, can you speak a little bit about that? Because I know you've been working with on the job contracts and why we've decided, and we are thinking about, I think we said earlier about building our own job contract. So Mike, can you elaborate on that?
Yes, commissioners, good evening. We are in a poise to revisit the situation. Commissioners, I'm sure you remember a little while ago, we were about to present our own job program to you. But we wanted to make sure that we had our standard operating procedures in place, that we had our budgets in place, and that we had our legs underneath us, as athletes would say, before embarking on this. I've had some really bad experiences with JOCs when we did not have procedures in place. We are moving toward that now, and very shortly we hope to bring before the board a resolution approving our JOC contractors with our own JOC contract management in place. And the goal is to look at utilizing really, vacant units that require modernization, a kind of rehabilitation work that we can get to quickly. We're looking to use the JOC program to reduce the number of work orders we have and to reduce the outstanding vacancies we have. So that's something that's in the works right now, and that we should be prepared to bring a presentation to the board and this committee, particularly probably within the next month or two.
Mr. Chairman,
So Mike, you're saying that we're using the state's job program now instead of our own because our own isn't ready to be utilized?
Exactly, Commissioner.
And when do you think it will be? Do you have a timeline on it?
I think that internal review, probably 30 days to the board and 60 days, I think is what we're sort of shooting for at this point. It could be early, it could be sooner.
Thank you, Mike. Mr. Chair, if I may. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, one of the reasons why we want to grow our own is because it would give us more control. If I'm wrong, Mike, correct me. In I'm going in terms of minority women and that. Speak to that, Mike. That's one of the most important.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think that we can set up our own. We can set up our own contract pricing of it, as opposed to one gigantic contractor. We could look to have procured in the JOC program, 2, 3, or 4 smaller contractors who would work on a rotating basis or based on what their expertise is, and we'd actually have immediate control with things like compliance to the work, to ensuring the work is being done properly and expeditiously. And it just gives it's one step closer to control on the construction project than we had on the state contract. The state contract is still a very viable option for us, but we think we're going to be, if we do continue to use it, it'll be just be on some really larger scale projects. But right now, the hope is to move our job order contracting to an in-house capacity.
Mike, my last question: how many people, how many contractors do you have in the program now? Working with? Is it 3?
No, at this point we have no job contractors. We completed the last major contract, the state contract. At the moment, there is no existing job contractors have available to us. So this in-house program is going to be our next frontier.
Okay. Thanks for that. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chair and other commissioners and Mr. Nesmith, I was remiss. I did not introduce a new staff member for RECD, and I would like to introduce Ms. Nicole Douglas, one of our new senior project managers. She is focusing on Creighton relocation, coordinating with J&G, and other projects and such. So, Ms. Douglas, welcome. And this is our RECD committee that takes place every month.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be at the table and pleasure to meet everyone.
All right, great. Where do you come from?
Well,
tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Pennsylvania. I'm a Virginia Union graduate. And I basically Richmond is my second home. I've lived here longer than Pennsylvania at this point. Thank you.
Right, so Commissioner Pritchford, are you there still with us? Yep, I see you.
Yes, I am.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get you voted on in so we can get your vote to count.
Mr. Pitchford, before we take a vote, would you mind to state for the record your location and the reason for the remote participation?
Home business.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion? So,
Thank you.
Chair Jackson, before you, resolution number 1 is the issuance of conduit bond financing or the bond application for Joyfield at German School Road multifamily housing project.
Yes, no questions, just to some things to look forward to as we present to the full board.
Is there a motion to recommend for approval to the full board?
I'll make a motion.
Jackson, excuse me, Commissioner Elliott, second. Because Commissioner Pitchford is participating, we will have Commissioner Parker.
Aye.
Commissioner Elliott.
Aye.
And Commissioner Pitchford.
Aye.
The ayes have it. It'll be sent to the full board meeting on the 17th. The second resolution before you this evening is the resolution RRHA's Chief Executive Officer to execute the Second Amendment to the Disposition and Development Agreement with the Better Housing Coalition and Richmond Affordable Housing Group for the Highland Grove project. Is there a motion to recommend for approval?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
This will be a roll call vote. So Commissioner Jackson.
Aye.
Commissioner Parker.
Aye.
Commissioner Elliott.
Aye.
And Commissioner Pitchford.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Motion carries. And that is all the resolutions before you this evening.
Right. Before we adjourn, do any of my colleagues have anything they want to add or state?
We welcome the new person in. Thank you.
All right. Well, if that be it, this was a great meeting. Thank you for your participation and thank you for all that you do for the residents and the authority. Have a good night and drive safely. This meeting is closed.
This conference is no longer being recorded.